Hello everyone, my name is Tiara Pitts and this presentation is covering my leadership book critique over the book called The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. This book was published in 1988 in Portuguese and then translated to English. Starting off, I would like to introduce myself and how leadership has affected me throughout my life. Being someone who played basketball since 7th grade, I have always loved being in the position to lead, and I was always voted captain on every team that I played on. In the top picture, I am the young woman all the way to the left who was speaking to my teammates during a timeout before breaking out to go back onto the court. I believe that I was always comfortable leading because I was always ready to encourage people and make people believe in themselves. I had learned throughout my time as an athlete, through coaches and personal experiences, that it was not always easy being a leader. Sometimes you have to say things that need to be said and not everyone will want to follow. Through this experience and being able to trust myself to lead other women, I was able to become the person I am today that takes pride in being a great friend, worker, and mother. To the right is the beautiful cover of the book and my APA formatted citation showing the author's year of English publication and the publisher, along with my other citations of 2 articles from the 2nd and 3rd module that went hand in hand with things I learned throughout reading this book, and also the case study we went over in the 5th module. I chose this book because I have seen it a lot on the internet, and I've had a few friends tell me that they would think that I would like the book, so when I seen it as an option for this assignment, I thought it was kind of destined for me to read it. I was really intrigued by the book because people had seemed to portray the scope of the book to be something that makes you look within yourself and want to put more action behind your own words. I think Paulo's work was very relevant to my own interests and made me think a lot about my future endeavors and what I need to continue to accomplish to get there. Santiago, the shepherd, continued to have a recurring dream about a treasure in Egypt and makes a decision to go on a quest to find the treasure. Throughout this quest, he runs into many different characters who influence his actions and beliefs along the way. He meets a gypsy woman who encourages him to go to Egypt and follow his dream. Then he meets a magical old man who claims to be the king of Salem. This old man tells him that it is his personal legend to journey to the pyramids and convinces him to sell his flock and follow his dream. Santiago gets robbed by a thief that took all of his money and made him really second guess and think about quitting. He was then forced to get work with a local crystal merchant who teaches Santiago several lessons. Santiago also gives the merchant advice and tells him to take a risk with his business. The risk ends up paying off and Santiago becomes rich in just 1 year. After this, Santiago joins a caravan where he meets an Englishman that teaches him a lot and has similar beliefs. One of the important lessons the Englishman teaches him is the importance of listening to his own heart. While in the desert, Santiago falls in love with a woman named Fatima. Fast forward, and Santiago gets captured and pays off some Arab soldiers, and they are released. When Santiago makes it to the pyramid and starts to dig for the gold, 2 men come, and one of the men begins to tell Santiago that he is a fool for going through all of the trouble he has for merely a dream. He also tells Santiago that he too has dreams about a treasure that is buried in Spain, and makes Santiago realize that the treasure he had been searching for was exactly where he started out, under the tree in Spain where he had all his dreams. I think that the biggest concepts that were being presented throughout the book were: 1, that people give up on their dreams too easily, and the universe will give you little seeds to help you achieve your goals. You have to look inside yourself to realize life goals and overcome difficulties. A good leader can trust their instincts and be able to be confident in their decisions. A leader leads through action. They learn from first-hand experiences and relate these experiences to new ones. And lastly, leaders must adapt and persevere through challenges in their paths. Someone who reads this book will learn about different ways to view reality in the world and could possibly motivate a reader to follow something that they believe in. The first comparison of the book that I found in one of the readings that I came across throughout this course was an article that was titled, "Is Leadership a Part of Me? A Leader Identity Approach to Understanding the Motivation to Lead." This reading brought me to think about and compare the idea of having the motivation to lead, an individual who has the willingness to consistently engage in activities that define their role of leading themselves along with others, like for example when Santiago led the merchant to take a risk with his business, along with leading himself through situations that he didn't know what the exact outcome would be, which takes bravery, which is said to be one of the key characteristics in leadership. The second comparison I found came about in an article that I read called "Five Principles to Guide Adaptive Leadership." The main points that stuck out to me in this article in relation to the book was the bullet points about adaptation and accountability. The article states that you have to have adaptation so that there is continuous learning and the adjustment of responses are necessary. This piece brought me to the part of the book when the Englishman taught Santiago to always follow his heart, but Santiago used everything he had learned before making the decision in the end to go pursue his love for Fatima, because he was also told that if the love is real, Fatima would support his dream. The article then stated that accountability includes the maximum transparency in decision making and processes open to challenges and feedback, which directly correlated to when Santiago got robbed in the beginning of his journey and was really contemplating quitting, but had to talk himself out of it and realize that nothing worth having would come without challenges. Lastly, while reading the book, I began to think back to the case study that we read in Module 5. While Santiago went through some of his trials, he was always brought back to a place where he was second guessing whether or not he was making the right decision in a lot of instances. This made me think back to the boss of the company in the case study that was very unsure of what to do and was asking his employees what he should do about the two workers' confrontations. Instead of just being a confident leader and listening to the different factors and being able to use his own feelings about the situation mixed with his knowledge about how the company needed to be ran in order to make a decision on how to move forward. The book, along with the case study, taught me that emotions can be a reliable and legitimate factor to use when it comes to making a decision. Yes, I would recommend this book to anyone to read if they want something that is inspiring and will keep them engaged and wondering how the story will play out. It is a very short book that I think is filled with gems that can change someone's perspective about different life situations that they may be dealing with. I really like how this book talked about the importance of love, but how it was important to first follow your own dreams, because if you only go through life following love, you may fall short of your desires. I think from a leadership standpoint, it can really make someone self-reflect and ask themselves questions about if they can confidently say that they believe in their purpose in life and whether or not they are taking active steps to reach and maintain their life goals. Throughout each character that Santiago comes across, the reader will also learn something and have viewpoints on how Santiago is dealing with all the trials he is facing on his journey. I would say that my own personal expectations of the book were met, and I was able to learn key things about leadership that I believe I will take with me throughout my personal and professional life. I am very glad that I chose to finally read this book, and I can genuinely say that this piece made a contribution to my overall understanding of leadership and how different factors may affect the way that I make decisions, but as long as I am confident in my decisions and the emotions I have along with them, I will know that I am making the right choice in anything that I do.